Our top story, when delegates arrived in Chicago for the DNC, a group of progressive activists promising to welcome them with a march, that despite the city's decision to turn down their requests for a permit.
Whether or not we get rejected by this court, we will be marching.
Andy Thayer among those with Bodies Outside of Unjust Laws, a coalition for reproductive justice and LGBTQ plus liberation, which city officials have denied a permit to march on Sunday, August 18th as the DNC gets underway.
When we've had Democratic administrations, we have gotten at most the bare minimum that they have promised. The bare minimum is not enough.
Attorney Joe DeCola representing the group as they await a final decision on permitting for a march in the Loop.
Chicago is home to an inspiring, dynamic community of longtime organizers and newly mobilized youth activists, and for the city and the Democratic Party to shut out those voices, suggesting instead that they march in a straight line in Grant Park where no one will hear them, offends the First Amendment, and it sets a regressive tone for the DNC.
Andy Day, News Radio 105.9 WBB.
A coalition of reproductive and LGBTQ plus rights groups are not giving up plans to protest ahead of the Democratic National Convention here in Chicago. Today, the coalition appealed the city's decision to reject a permit to protest. Organizers also had strong words for Democrats.
When they get into office, the only pressure they feel is from the far right. And it's up to us here in Chicago and other so-called blue states to say, no, that's not enough. We need to be expanding our reproductive health care. We need to be expanding LGBTQ plus rights.
Organizers say they plan to protest regardless of any decision made.
Legal battle underway after the city of Chicago denied activists a permit for a protest during the Democratic National Convention in August.
WGN's Angelica Sanchez is here now with more on the activist reaction and plans.
Well, guys, the group says with or without a permit, they plan on making their voices heard as delegates start to arrive to the Windy City.
And the city should not stand in our way. They should be empowering us to march.
Several organizers stood in solidarity outside the steps of the Chicago Administrative Law Hearings Courthouse following an appeals hearing.
We need to be in a place where you can see us, where they can see us, and we can see them.
The group says the Chicago Transportation Department denied them a permit to protest in the Loop this Sunday before the start of the Democratic National Convention in August.
Whether or not we get rejected by this court, we will be marching. Our march, our assembly will be at 5 p.m. at Water Tower Park on Sunday, August 18th. That much we know. What happens beyond that, we will see.
Their attorney says the city is trying to push organizers to protest in Grant Park, a location they say will diminish their visibility. They say they are not the only group being denied a permit.
Chicago is home to an inspiring, dynamic community of longtime organizers and newly mobilized youth activists, and for the city and the Democratic Party to shut out those voices, suggesting instead that they march in a straight line in Grant Park where no one will hear them, offends the First Amendment, and it sets a regressive tone for the DNC.
Organizers say they are frustrated because the issues they plan to protest align with the Democratic Party.
And I urge the city to reconsider its position.
And we honestly expect that most of the convention attendees and the public agree with us. But they must do more than agree with our demands for reproductive justice and LGBTQ liberation. They must do a lot more than that.
WGN reached out to the Department of Transportation for comment. A spokesperson says in part that they do not comment on ongoing litigation, but permits like this are reviewed by multiple departments to identify potential conflicts and safety issues. Their full statement can be viewed on our website. In the meantime, guys, it is expected that a law officer will be making a decision on this appeal within 48 hours.
All right, thank you, Angelica.